Hi guys, and welcome to another Hearthstone video. Today I'm going to show you a very interesting and extremely fun to play deck, No Minion Mage. The reason why I like this deck very much is that in most part it is unpredictable. Every game is like no other. Unlike Face Hunter or Stealth Rogue for example, which provide a straightforward strategy and much less surprises for the enemy. These two are very strong decks, but after several games can become very boring. With the mage decks, especially with No Minion Mage deck, the games are never boring and most importantly, the outcome from your moves can be absolutely unpredictable for the opponent. That makes Hunter, Rogue or Paladin opponents to be much more careful and less aggressive. With No Minion Mage, I somehow feel free to enjoy the game, to make silly mistakes and try different things no matter what the end result would be. I like to play longer games against paladins, priests and warriors, just to see who will survive longer. For those of you who are new to my channel, currently I do World of Warcraft and Hearthstone guides, so if eventually you find this video helpful to you, consider subscribing for more content like this. You can also check my recent guides for Face Hunter and Libram Paladin decks. Thank you very much for being here. As always, I will begin with a quick introduction of the deck. Then I will explain why I play with certain cards, what I prefer for the starting hand, and I will show you a quick game against Paladin. As the name suggests, there are no minions in this deck. Instead, there is a massive amount of spells. At least half of them cost 1 or 2 mana, so each turn you will have something to cast. You will have several opportunities to get some minions in your hand or directly on the board. Font of Power is a strong spell that provides 3 minions for only 1 mana, in case you still don't have minions in your deck. There are a few situations when you can get some, I will explain that later. Learn Draconic is an easy to complete quest that summons a dragon with 6 health and attack. Netherwind Portal will summon a 4-cost minion for 3 mana and can be very helpful when you are trying to control the board. In the late game, Apexis Blast and Power of Creation can also help you to gain a strong board position. One card that I like to use in this deck is Primordial Studies, and for one specific reason, to get Astromancer Solarian and summon Solarian Prime in the late game. It is so powerful. See what that card is capable of in this example. Powerful, unpredictable and fun to watch. These are some of the other cards that can be possibly discovered by Primordial Studies. Azure Explorer, Blood Mage Taunus, Steward of Scrolls, Wap Partner, Violet Warden, Mana Reservoir, Kobold Geomancer, Maligos, Ogre Magi, Dalaran Mage, Kirintor Tricaster and Archmage. I'm not sure about those two, but I also know you might also get them in rare cases. Squall Hunter and Lady Vash. Let me now show you the other core cards and some optional alternatives that I find useful in specific situations. Evocation, one of the 2 legendaries in the deck, fills your hand with mage spells. Everything you don't use will disappear at the end of the turn. I usually keep this for difficult situations and use it when I have at least 7 or 8 mana and enough space in my hand. Evocation may provide good options when you need to take control of the board or do direct damage to the opponent's hero. 2 of the cards work best when you don't have minions in your deck, Apexis Blast and Font of Power. You initially start without minions, but as I mentioned earlier, there are situations when you might get minions in your deck. For example, when you shuffle Solarian Prime or other Prime cards. In one of my games I got Kargat Blade Fist from my Netherwind Portal secret and it shuffled Kargat Prime in my deck. Either way, Font of Power can still provide you a good minion through discovery for only 1 mana, and Apexis can do reasonable direct damage. Just be careful if you plan to use the full potential of these 2 cards. Other cards in the deck are Ancient Mysteries, Frostbolt, Tome of Intellect, at least I use it, Incanter's Fall, which has powerful effect on your deck if you cast it early enough, Arcane Intellect, Fireball, Power of Creation, Rolling Bow, a nice removal spell, Flame Ward, don't forget that it works differently than the Hunter's Explosive Trap, and triggers after the opponent's attack. And my favorite card in the deck, the Amazing Reno. Its initial effect is really amazing. It makes all minions on the battlefield disappear. They don't trigger any death rattle effects and can be resurrected. Very powerful effect. The Amazing Reno also provides 5 armor. From now on, he will cast a random spell at the start of your turn. From my experience, most of these spells are helpful, but this is unpredictable and he might also cast Pyroblast on your hero. So don't count too much on him and better try to win as soon as possible. If you don't know, the Amazing Reno card cannot be created the usual way. If you want to know how to get it, I have a video about that. You can use the link on the upper right corner of the screen or the one in the description below. This card is also being used in another nice mage deck, Highlander Mage. There are many optional cards which you can use to adjust your deck according to the opponents you meet most. I use Arcane Explosion or Arcane Missiles when I start to encounter stealth rogues more often. Combustion is very useful against aggro decks like Face Hunter. Devolving Missiles are extremely helpful against Guardian Droids, Libram Paladins and Totem Shamans. Flame Strike can also help you against slower Totem Shamans and when the opponent has strong position on the board with many minions. Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron, another unpredictable and emergency spell for moments when you don't have any other options. It can be very helpful when the opponent is controlling the board and you don't have minions there. Other optional cards are Ice Barrier, Ray of Frost, Deep Freeze and Blizzard. If they are available, I choose the following cards for the starting hand. Against rogues, presumably stealth rogues, Arcane Missiles, Arcane Explosion, Ray of Frost, Frostbolt, Learn Draconic and Magic Trick. You need to stop these stealth enemy minions or even kill them before they strike. It's better if you start first and cast Learn Draconic. Cast Ice Barrier when possible. Against other aggro decks, Learn Draconic, Ray of Frost, Combustion, Primordial Studies, Flame Ward and Magic Trick. Your priority is to control the board. If you let the Face Hunter to do what he wants on the board, the game will be short and he will certainly win. Against other decks, Learn Draconic, Incanter's Fall, Primordial Studies, Magic Trick, Tome of Intellect and Ancient Mysteries. Against big minion decks like Libram Paladin, I also like to keep Devolving Missiles just to be sure that I will have one when I need it. I will finish with showing you a quick and interesting game against Libram Paladin. This was one of the moments when I got bored from playing dozens of games with Face Hunter and switched to No Minion Mage to have some fun. I didn't get the best possible starting hand, but thankfully Libram Paladin is not aggressive at start. I started as I usually do against such decks, with Primordial Studies and the idea to get Solarian if possible. When I play against Libram Paladin, my priority is to clear his minions, so I don't give him a chance to buff them with one of his strong blessings, especially Blessing of Authority. It was good that I had Learn Draconic active while doing this. It's important to get some minions at some point, otherwise you risk to put yourself in a permanent defensive position and you don't want that. As I mentioned earlier in this guide, Learn Draconic, Netherwind Portal and Font of Power are good sources for useful minions. The Paladin Divine Shield minions can be a problem, especially when there are two of them on the board. I could probably use my hero power here to remove one of the Divine Shields and then cast Rolling Ball, but that wasn't fun enough for me and I wanted to see what will happen if I use Solarian Prime. I wasn't disappointed and even got a second one, and that made the situation even more enjoyable. This is the fun unpredictability I was talking about in the beginning. 3 secrets, 2 side quests, and I still have that rolling fireball if something goes wrong. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this guide. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you in the next one.